You don't drink? So people often ask me why I don't drink, especially those who don't know me very well. Everyone has their own journey and their own perspective. This is mine. Substance use disorders and addiction run deep in my family. I have seen the pain that comes to those who suffer from it and the pain for all of the people who love those people. And I know that it's not the alcohol itself that causes that, it's the addiction and the disorder, but it's kind of like eating a food for the first time and getting food poisoning from it. And no matter what, you really can never eat that food again because you have so many bad memories. You develop an aversion to it. So, in a lot of ways, I see alcohol as a type of poison that just really destroys lives. And two, I had my own love affair with alcohol. And I have heard from many fellow adult children of alcoholics that they really fear that they will become alcoholics themselves. And I wouldn't have felt this way, I think, or believed the science behind it if I hadn't actually had this love affair with alcohol myself. So I know based on all the research that because of the genetics in my family, the history of addiction, and the fact that I grew up with an alcoholic parent in a dysfunctional environment, that my odds of developing a substance use disorder or some other addiction are really high. But I wouldn't have believed that if I hadn't experienced it, this relationship with alcohol. And from about age 18 to 21, I really did have a deep relationship with alcohol. And if you're interested in learning more about that period of my story and my whole story, the link to that video is just above here. But during that period, my friends had a relationship with alcohol too. They were drinking the way that college students do. But during that time, I really began to feel that I needed to drink. I drank alone without my friends, and I began feeling like I needed it in order to get into a situation that scared me, like going somewhere where I hardly knew anyone. I felt like I needed to drink. And that was a pretty scary position to be in, and one I never ever thought as I was growing up as a kid that I would ever be in. But yet there I was, kind of on this slippery slope, and it felt very warm and familiar there. And I knew that that's where my mother and several other family members had stood, and that scared the stuff out of me, okay? It did. And that's when I realized I needed to really take a close look at what was happening with me and my relationship with alcohol. I am not a good drunk, despite what it looks like. So I will wear a bigger smile, I will laugh harder, I will tell more jokes, I will dance better. From the surface, it looks like I can drink well. But on the inside, it's actually quite the opposite. I crave predictability and stability, and when you drink, you don't have control and you don't have stability, and that's a very uncomfortable state for me to be in. It also intensifies emotions, of course. So I have all these things going on. Maybe the first few drinks I feel pretty good, but after that point, and by the way, I have difficulty stopping after a few drinks, it's kind of downhill from there. I don't feel good inside, and I never really have a good time. Literally, I can't remember having a good time when I was drunk. And four, I found that there were just cooler things to do for me personally. And again, I'm speaking only from my perspective. For some people, having some drinks and drinking is an awesome way to spend their time. But for me, about 10 years ago, when I was really going through a hard time, it was the peak of my mother's substance use disorder. I was raising my sister. I had a lot of stress related to that. And I had a good friend who, bless her heart, knew what was going on in my life, and she wanted me to spend time with her group of friends to relax. And in the summertime, what they did was spend the day out on the lake drinking, and then in the evening they would sit around a bonfire drinking. And also around that time, many of my friends from for many years started to get married and settle into grown-up life, and drinking became the pastime. That's what the fun escape from grown-up land was all tied to drinking activities. And I began to feel like really abnormal that I didn't enjoy spending my time like that. Like that's a considerable amount of time, like whole weekends. And I realized that I was interested in writing and getting back into running and doing these different things. And my friends then didn't really share those interests. And so I started making more friends who did share those interests, and I didn't lose that core group of friends. They just got used to the idea of me not drinking, and they didn't get offended when I began declining invitations for certain things. And they got accustomed to the idea that I actually could go out and hang out with them and not drink and actually have a better time than if I had been drinking. I really accepted the fact and embraced the fact that I live differently. So I have the opportunity in this grown-up world to spend my time how I want to spend it, even if it's different from how most people spend their time. Already, please subscribe and be sure to click on the little bell to receive notifications when I post a new video. I am on a journey to create an awesome grown-up life and to heal from tough times as the kid of an alcoholic. I want to help others do the same. You deserve an awesome grown-up life. I hope you are so well in your journey today.